So this video is going to review the steps for solving quadratic equations using factoring. So there's this checklist that we have, 4 steps, and we're going to use it like a checklist. And I've created one of the more complex problems to show you all of these steps in action here, okay? So not all problems are going to be this complicated, but I wanted to refresh your memory using a problem that's a little bit trickier. So first step, it says the equation must be equal to 0. Okay, what that means is you want to look over here and see what it says. If it says equals 0, then you're good. You can just move on from there. This doesn't say equals 0. So we're not done with step 1 yet. What we have to do is we have to make this equation equal 0. And the way you do that is we have a negative 10. What we're going to do is we are going to add 10 to both sides here. So I'm going to add 10 over here, and what's going to happen is that's going to give me negative 10 plus 10 equals 0. Now I can't just add 10 there and do nothing else on this side of my equal sign because then it wouldn't be balanced. So we have to add 10 on the left side here too. And where I'm going to do that is with my number. We add numbers to numbers. Those are like terms. I can't add a 10 to an x squared. I can't add a 10 to a 10x because I don't have the variables. So I add the 10 to the number. So that's going to leave me with x squared plus 10x plus 24. Okay, so now I have an equation that equals 0 because it says equals 0. And we see we have to have an equation that's in factored form. Now, factored form, if you remember, is where we have 2 sets of parentheses, and then it's going to be equal to 0. These are our 2 factors, which make it factored form. So when you look at your equation, if you don't have parentheses, it's not factored. Also, if you have a power of 2, it's not factored. So since this isn't factored, we have to put it in factored form. And we're going to use this grid to help us do that. So remember, you take your first term, and you put it in this box, 1x squared. Then you're going to take your last term, this 24, and you're going to put it in this box. Now your next step is you multiply these together. 1 times 24 gives you 24. So that means we're looking for factors of 24. And there are lots of factors of 24. We have 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8, and 4 times 6. But we're looking for this pair of factors that add up to 10. So factors of 24 that add up to 10. If I were to add 1 plus 24, it does not add up to 10. So what you need to do is look at your factors and find the pair that when you add them together equals 10. And that's going to be 4 and 6. So those are the factors we're looking at. We don't care about the rest of them, just the 4 and the 6 in this case. And I'm going to take one of those factors and put it in this box. And I'm going to take one of those factors and put it down here. Now remember, we want it to add up to 10x. So this 4 is actually a 4x, and the 6 is actually a 6x. And now we're ready to factor. And when we factor, what we want to do is we want to look for the greatest common factor that these two numbers have in common. And the greatest thing these two numbers have in common is a 4. They both can be divided by 4. And these, the greatest thing they can both be divided by is just an x. Okay? Now, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to look on this side. Now we're looking for factors. So we're thinking this times this has to equal x squared. So x times x is x squared. And the other thing we're going to do, look at this box. We need this to be 24. So 4 times 6 gives me 24. And we can test out these others. X times 6 gives me 6x. X times 4 gives me 4x. So now we're going to write our factored form. And our factored form is going to be what we have on the top here. Okay, this x plus 4 is one of my factors. And the other factor I have is what's on the side here, this x plus 6. So x plus 4 times x plus 6 equals 0. So factored form equal to 0. Now we're ready for step 3, which is we're going to set each factor equal to 0. What we're trying to do is figure out, remember, when we multiply this times this, it equals 0. And you know when you multiply, anything times 0 equals 0. So what I want to do is say, okay, how can I make this parentheses a 0? What does x have to be in order for this to equal 0? And then I'm going to do the same thing with this set of parentheses. So I'm just going to make it equal 0, and then I'm going to solve it. And to solve it, I'm going to do the opposite of what I see in this problem. And I'm going to say, okay, x equals negative 4. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here. X equals negative 6. So what we're saying is our solution are either going to be negative 4 or negative 6. Now let me explain what that means, okay? Let's go back to our factored form. So x plus 4 times x plus 6 equals 0. Oopsie. I want you to imagine that x was negative 4. So if I put in a negative 4 plus 4, and then again, x is negative 4, what we're going to see here is negative 4 plus 4 is 0. Negative 4 plus 6 is 2. So 0 times 2 is 0. Okay, so that what we've done is we figured out what number makes this set of parentheses 0. Now, what we've also done, okay, is let's switch this up. Let's say that we got this other answer, this pink answer. We said x is negative 6. So now negative 6 plus 4 is negative 2, but negative 6 plus 6 is 0. So see, that's going to give me an answer of 0 also. So both of those, negative 4 and negative 6, are going to be our solutions. And then finally, the last thing I want to do is show you what this would look like on a graph. So if I put this into my calculator and I look at my solutions, remember my solutions are where this parabola crosses my x-axis. I see it crosses right here at negative 4, and it also crosses right here at negative 6. So I can see my solutions there as well.